Imagine living in London, Manchester or Glasgow, and discovering that your name is on a foreign government's hit list. This government is not Russia, it's not China, it is Iran. According to Britain's top watchdog, there have been at least 15 Iranian plots to assassinate or kidnap people on UK soil since 2022. These attacks are not happening in Tehran, they're not happening in the Middle East, they're happening here in the UK. And that is just one part of the UK's newly released intelligence report, and it calls it a persistent and unpredictable threat. So how did we get here? What exactly is Iran doing in Britain's backyard? And why is it happening now? In July 2025, the UK's Parliamentary Intelligence and Security Committee released a detailed assessment on Iran's threat to British national security. This is not a casual think tank paper. This is the only parliamentary body with full access to MI5, MI6 and GCHQ's most sensitive intelligence. And their findings are clear. Iran is not just a distant geopolitical problem. It is an active player in the British streets, in British cyberspace, and against British allies abroad. The report paints a picture of a state with three faces. The first is a regime obsessed with survival. The second is a regional power determined to expand its influence. And the third is a shadow operator using proxies, hackers, and assassins to strike far from home. To understand today's Iran, we need to go back to 1979. The Iranian Revolution overthrew the Shah and replaced him with the Shia theocracy under Ayatollah Khomeini. Its guiding principles, known as Bayt al-Faqih, declared that clerics, not secular leaders, should govern the country. Since then, Iran's supreme leader, now Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has held ultimate power over every arm of the state, including the intelligence services. History has given the regime a deep sense of paranoia. Foreign interventions in the 19th and 20th centuries, the CIA-backed coup in 1953, and the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, which killed hundreds of thousands, all shaped its worldview. The war in particular left deep scars. Surrounded by enemies and abandoned by potential allies, Iran concluded that it could only survive by building hard power. That means missiles, militias, cyber capabilities, and even the option to go nuclear. At the top of the power structure is the supreme leader, who is answerable only to God and has the final say on all policy. The president, currently Ibrahim Raisi, is a hardliner loyal to Khomeini. The Supreme National Security Council brings together military, political and intelligence chiefs, but it operates firmly under the supreme leader's control. The real machinery of covert power lies in two rival intelligence organizations. The first is the Ministry of Intelligence and Security, which is the country's civilian spy agency. And the second is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, which is a paramilitary empire with its own army, navy, air force and intelligence branches, including the Quds Force. These agencies do not always cooperate. They compete with each other, sometimes spying on the same targets. That rivalry makes them volatile and increases the risk of unmanaged escalation. Their shared objectives are to preserve the regime, push the United States and its allies, which include Britain, out of the Middle East, protect share communities, and undermine Israel, which Iran sees as an existential enemy. While Iran can act rationally, the report warns that it is also prone to dangerous miscalculations. The UK report identifies 6 main areas of threat. The first is physical attacks. This is the most urgent threat. As already mentioned, Since 2022, there have been at least 15 Iranian plots to assassinate or kidnap people in the UK. The targets included dissidents, journalists, and critics of Tehran. Iran does not see this as attacking Britain. It sees it as removing enemies of the regime wherever they are. The second is the country's nuclear ambitions. Iran has not yet built a nuclear weapon, but depending on how effective the US and Israeli strikes were recently, it edges closer and could develop a testable weapon within the foreseeable future. The third is espionage. Iran uses both human agents and cyber capabilities to gather intelligence. Its cyber espionage operations are particularly strong, offering plausible deniability and global reach. The fourth is offensive cyber. Iran is a capable and aggressive cyber actor. It has attacked banks, oil infrastructure, and electoral systems in other countries. The UK is not a top target right now, but that could change overnight in a crisis. The fifth is political interference. So far, this has had little impact on the UK politics, but Iran is increasingly intimidating diaspora communities and journalists. The threats to the London-based broadcaster Iran International are a high-profile example. The sixth is threats to the UK interests in the Middle East. These range from missile strikes against allies to harassment of shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, which could disrupt British forces and energy supplies. The bottom line is simple. As one UK official said, the whole toolkit is in play when it comes to Iran. Despite this, the report warns that Britain's response has been reactive, focused too heavily on the nuclear issue and lacking a long-term strategy. So where could this go? The first scenario is status quo plus. Iran continues to operate below the threshold of open war, using proxies, cyber attacks, and targeted assassinations. The second scenario is escalation through miscalculation, a failed operation in London, a strike gone wrong in the Gulf, or an overreach by one of Iran's proxies could set off a chain reaction. The third scenario is a nuclear breakout. If Iran feels concerned, it could race to build the bomb. That would transform the Middle East and force the UK into difficult choices on how to respond. In conclusion, the report on Iran is a wake-up call. Iran is already here. It is already targeting people in Britain. It is already probing our cyber defences, and it has the capacity to escalate without warning. But none of this is inevitable. The UK can harden its defences, sharpen its intelligence, and build resilience if it stops reacting to crises and starts planning strategically. So here's the question. If Britain cannot even decide whether to label Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organisation, how ready are they for the next plot that is not stopped in time? Thank you for watching. I've been that Intel guy, and if you've enjoyed this, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, as it helps the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you again next week. See you!